Okay, we're live.
Yay.
Yay. Welcome everyone to Uncontrolled Variables. I'm Alex, and my co-host is Kenan, who might come say hi at some point.
Oh, hey.
Wave to the people.
Thank you for having me.
And we are the co-hosting Uncontrolled Variables. So just to give a quick little rundown of what to expect tonight, you are going to see first comedians do some jokes, and then all of our comedians are getting a couple of slides prepared by scientists, and the comedians have never seen these slides before, so they're just going to do their best to present what they can. And then we're going to have the scientists who did the research come on and present their research in their own words. Hopefully the comedians get everything right, but if they don't, the scientists can correct them. And then we're going to have a Q&A with each of the scientists. And our theme tonight is climate science, so we have some great climate scientists coming to you tonight. We're going to do that first with one pair of scientists and comedians, and then we're going to repeat that same thing with another pair, and then at the end we're going to do some rapid fire trivia or prizes, and then we'll let you go. And hopefully the whole show will be less than an hour and 15 minutes, so if you've got big date plans tonight, don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to do that. But first, a little bit about me. I just wanted to give some background about how I got interested in science and what led me to the show. So I really loved science growing up. I especially loved when we would do lab classes, because I think, learning through labs is a really great way to learn a subject. And I always wondered though, like, why we didn't do this for other classes. Like, why aren't we doing it for history? It's like, I would learn a lot better if you just took me out to Gettysburg and let me shoot someone, I think on top of that, another subject that would really be great for a lab class would be sex ed. We were not getting the sex ed we needed to be getting in Virginia public schools. Like, I left high school knowing how to integrate over a circle, but I'm still dry humping at a 3rd grade level. Shout out to my dad who's on the call. I do think that I could have used that help in high school, because I wasn't really getting any sort of information from my parents, not for lack of trying. Like, I recently found out that when I went to college, my mom gave all of my friends a bag of condoms and Plan B, and gave me a box fan and 4 years of paid tuition.
That's hilarious.
But okay. That's hilarious for those who didn't hear. But I'm in science now, and I'm a grad student at Northwestern in biomedical engineering. And when I tell that to people, they go, "Oh, that must be so hard, biomedical engineering." But really the hardest part is knowing that I have the blood of literally hundreds of mice on my hands. I did find a little moral workaround, just in case God is real. And my moral workaround is that I am a vegetarian. So I'll kill the mice, but I won't eat them. It's like if I were a serial killer, I wouldn't also eat my victims. Like, so we would start to cross a line. But I don't know, like, how your coworkers don't like you sometimes? I'm starting to think that the mice I work with don't really like me, because every time I try to pick them up, they try to bite me. And I think it's because I've given everybody in their family cancer. It's like, okay, mice, my mom had cancer, and you don't see me going around trying to bite everybody. It's like, do what I did. Refuse to go to therapy and do stand-up comedy on zoom.com. Anyway, enough about me. Thank you guys so much for coming to our show tonight. I'm so excited to introduce our next comedian. You can see her, I think, this weekend at the Laugh Factory, or regularly at the Laugh Factory, if not this weekend. Very funny lady, Victoria Vincent.
Woo. Nice to meet everyone. Yes, Alex is correct. I am a comedian sometimes. The pandemic has definitely been weird for me. I'm very excited to do this. I don't get to deal with other like-minded scientists. That was a joke because I do not do anything. Well, that's not true. I was really intimidated to do this show because I feel like I used to think I was just playing dumb, but now I think I might actually just be dumb. Okay. Take this to your grave, but I used to think clairvoyant was one person that everybody knew. That's so nice for everyone. She seems like a great friend. No, the pandemic is weird because I work in medicine. It's been interesting. I will say that. I would say the one thing sadder than working with cancer patients is doing stand-up comedy.
Oh.
Poorly. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. No, I do medicine. I work with, I do radiation therapy. So I work with like radioactive isotopes. And they actually say that like people are really afraid of radiation for some reason. I don't know why. It's fun. It's beyond. No, it doesn't. It should. I do work with radioactive isotopes. People are really afraid of it. And like the way they teach us to explain it is that radiation takes about 80 days off of your life. Whereas being single takes off 2,000.
Oh.
2,080 days off of my life. Right. So, yeah, it's interesting to like, I like working in medicine and doing comedy because when I put an IV in my patient, that's what I like to call a forced audience. Until I take it out. You better laugh. It's hard. I this time this pandemic has been weird for me, mostly because like I'm adjusting to like new ways of people existing. Like people are social distancing and that's great. I would say that when I see people like people are wearing masks and stuff, and that's great, and they're social distancing in a really well way. Now when I see people cross the street when I'm coming, I think it's for social distancing and not what it used to be for, which was just general racism. It's an interesting transition for me to be where I'm at because I'm a rich kid and that surprises people because you guys are racist. And you can be Black and privileged and still not do nothing. Actually, I didn't really know that I was that privileged because my dad is probably the only surgeon who orders his clothes from Duluth Trading Company. Regular basis. I'm like solely sponsoring that company. And I grew up with like other Black rich kids. We were like the X-Men. Weaknesses were like microaggressions in our hair. I actually, I am applying to grad school right now, and it's an interesting. Yeah, it's nice. I figured, you know, 27 or 28 is a good age to stop disappointing your parents. Do you guys ever reach a point in your life where you're more proud of your parents than they are of you? Happy for them. You know, you guys are doctors, you're doing great, and you have me. I'm out here and I got paid $20 last night. No, it's I am applying to grad school because I do want to do more. Working in medicine is something that I love doing. I love my patients, and but I will say that like we trust people in scrubs way too much. I was walking down the street one day and I was walking by 7-Eleven, which is one of my favorite stores, and I was in the bay window because the one by me has a very beautiful bay window. And I thought this guy was hitting on me, but it turns out he was choking. Yeah, hitting on me. I was like, why would I help you now? Because here's the thing about my life. I thought I'd be happier by now, or I thought I'd be cooler by now, or at least more successful, but I'm 0 for 3. And I know I'm not successful because successful people don't spend the amount of time that I spend at 7-Eleven. I know I'm not cool because I used to read and write Good Charlotte fan fiction.
Oh.
of 26, so like last year. Listen, they're great. I also don't know, people don't respect me because I'm fat or because I'm Black or because my email address is simpleplanlover157. I don't know, Alex, how am I on time? I feel like I'm done.
You got a minute left to go if you want to kill us with one more.
Kill us with a few more. Okay, I'll kill you guys for sure. I actually use my next point. I'm obsessed, in a weird, kind of obsessed with serial killers in some way, and I wish we could normalize more Black female serial killers, okay? Bring to the table. It is very nice to see that they're making all these Black horror movies. I love that. It's nice to see Black people scared for fun and not what they usually are scared for, which is just general existence.
It's too true.
I know I don't consider myself mentally stable. I put together dollhouse furniture for fun. So I'm going to end on that. Does anyone else go to therapy to talk about how funny they are? The therapist is like, I can't help you. You need more than I can give. Hey, thank you guys. I'm Victoria Vincent.
Hey, Victoria. I mostly just go to therapy to kind of process the fact that I was never nominated for the Ice Bucket Challenge, but
but I wouldn't have in my head.
Oh, of course not. Anyway, we are now going to hear Victoria do some science. Are you ready, Victoria?
I'm ready. I know a little bit of science. I know this. It's nice.
I mean, based on what you just said, it sounds like you're an expert on radiation. So you can talk to my dad about that later, because that's what he does. Look at her eyes light up.
Talking about radiation, no one else seems to.
All right, so Adrianna, do you want to share your slides?
Good. Let's see.
I know about greenhouse gases. That's the stuff that happens when you fart, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, an amazing start.
Already. Okay, so like, you're gonna move the slides, right?
Do we want to start with this title, or let's just go into it? Okay, here we go.
Let's do the title. Go back, because I want to know what I'm doing. Seasonal dynamics of greenhouse gases in small dystrophic lakes in northern Wisconsin. This is very specific, Adrianna. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure the crowd, but we'll try. All right, next one. That's fire dancing, right? No, I don't know what that is. Are there words with this? Okay, I was like, what am I supposed to I hope there's words. Okay, well, that's not there. Is this the only thing on there? Okay, then there's an arrow. Okay, changing climate. Trout bog, what a fun name. There's a changing climate in trout bog. You guys, why did you pick that one, Adrianna? That's a fun name, but all the other ones aren't that great either. Sparkling lake. Okay. Changing climate. So the change in ice cover duration by 2050, you guys, we're gonna die. Clearly, as you can see by the color map, it gets more red. That means it's worse. Right? Don't tell me. I know this. I'm smart enough to learn maps. Not math, it's a graph. It's the same thing. And then over here we have we just have rivers. Like, I don't know what's happening with that one with the purple and green, but it looks like something's happening. It doesn't seem to be good. So we should move to the next slide before it gets worse. Okay, well, this isn't right. There's words on this. My dad likes the fish. That's a boat. Okay, next one, because this isn't. I'm trying hard. I'm actually trying, but there's no words on this slide. Go to the next one. That just looks like a fun time. Okay. This is a time-lapse video of ice. Okay, is there words with this one? Well, this is what is it? It looks like you put a tin can on some water and then let it freeze. Then the other one. Listen, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but I think more words is necessary. I don't think I'm that stupid. For me to do anything with it. These are just pictures. Are we artists? Next one, because you're gonna have to really explain this. Now you've made your job harder. I'm giving you my expertise. Next slide. And just, I think you just moved that graph twice.
Yeah, that was really sneaky, Adrianna.
Okay, now what's the next slide?
There's some words on the slide, though, at least.
Where? Wow. Depth? No, there's no words on this slide. The words are the X and Y. I know what X and Y axis is. I actually am in biochem right now, so I know things about axes. Those are X and Y axes, but the only words on there are depth and CO2. So apparently the depth in the CO2, something's happening there.
Yeah, what's happening?
Increase in CO2, I guess, based on, but the depth is lower. Or high, no. Higher depth, higher CO2? Don't, listen, I thought I was smart, so please let's go to the next slide.
You might not have much more to work with.
Well, this seems like it's your fault. Let's go to the next one.
Do you want to try to interpret the previous
slides and then like giving my estimation about when the world's gonna end?
You could probably do more with the first slide, maybe.
Wow. Adrianna is not letting this go.
I'm not
okay, we'll give you 1 minute to wrap up this slide, and then you're off the hook.
Because yeah, I thought we were all right. So I was reading them: aquatic ecosystems, agricultural and waste, and rivers, forests, and then the gases. So the potency of greenhouse gases. Okay, so you're just pointing to the word with the fire though, so I'm not sure. Methane emissions are doing something. You guys, listen. If we talk again, let's talk about some beta radiation, gamma radiation, some bronchial X-rays. Get me in there. But I think, Adrianna, this is what you're supposed to be doing. I hope you can explain it, because then I'd be if you couldn't. But I tried. But you should have put more words on there, because for once words are like people who are stupid usually like less words. I'm stupid and I wanted more words. More words. So that's on you now. Okay, I'm sorry. That was being. It looks like you're doing great research. So all of you, climate change is very important. So thank you for letting me attend. That wasn't even anything. I don't. Let's scrap this whole thing, Alex. I'm leaving this world.
Okay.
Hey, Adrianna, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
It's not question time yet.
Oh, sorry.
It's just like, don't interrupt again.
Sorry, I don't want to be muted.
Oh, savage.
Victoria, you did a great job. Adrianna, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so something I neglected to mention is that me, Adrianna, and Victoria are all brothers, in that we were all in the same service fraternity.
Did I forget?
Victoria, we're brothers.
Yeah.
LFS.
Let that energy guide you through this presentation. Feel free to take it away, Adrianna.
Well, thank you, Victoria. And I purposely didn't put words because I feel like as scientists, we're always told not to put words on slides. So I apologize for that. But I'm Adrianna. I'm a master's student at the Center for Limnology at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Limnology is a term I didn't know what it meant until I took a class in college, but basically it's just the study of inland waters, which means freshwater systems like lakes, reservoirs, and rivers. And for my master's research, I'm interested in the seasonal dynamics of greenhouse gases in small dystrophic lakes in northern Wisconsin. Dystrophic, I try to throw you off, another piece of jargon but basically it just means a brown lake. So a lake with a lot of organic matter, like plant material that gets into it. And so its color is brown. But here we go. Okay, so this photo here, I think, captures the essence of my research. This is from scientists up in Alaska showing the release of methane from thermokarst lakes. So number one, it shows the potency of greenhouse gases. This plot here is basically just summarizing what the sources of methane are. And this plot, this bar graph right here is representing 53% of all methane sources actually come from aquatic systems. So lakes, reservoirs, and impoundments are natural emitters of greenhouse gases. And if you look at this first one here, of that 53%, a majority are freshwater. So rivers, lakes, and reservoirs instead of oceans. On the flip side, our climate's changing. So things are getting worse. Temperatures are warming. And this plot here is of my study area. So I study trout bog. And the study just estimated that in 2050, we'll have about 20 less days of ice cover, which is a big deal when it comes to the ecology of our lakes. And that's basically what my research is centered around. So the first thing we did was try to figure out the potency of greenhouse gases by looking at the annual fluxes and emissions of lakes. And normally that was done manually, but if we do it manually, we're sort of losing out on what we call shoulder seasons. So when ice is melting or when ice is forming, we can't go out and sample a lake because you can't go out on ice and you can't go out on a boat. So we use technology, and this is a flux tower, an eddy covariance flux tower, and it basically just measures what is being emitted off of a lake. So methane and carbon dioxide are the main greenhouse gases we're focused on. And the beauty of it is that we can put it on a buoy so it freezes on ice, and then as ice melts, it is able to float on the lake. And that's what this plot is basically showing, is over this annual scale. So from March until October, we were able to measure the greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, and up here is methane, what's coming off. And so this red line here is when ice actually came off the lake. And this here is when the lake turned over. So as temperatures change, buoyancy changes, and a lot of methane is able to accumulate in the bottom waters. And so as lakes change and temperatures change, this is what a fall emission can look like. But the main thing I wanted to show you is here after ice came off, we see this belch or this burp of methane release off a lake. And usually this can't really be measured with manual samples because it's more of this like hand waving estimate. And here instead we have some direct measurements of it. And it's cool because it's not just one day that it's emitting a lot, it's off this longer period of time. So it's about 20 days that we see this elevated emissions of methane. So that's pretty cool. And now on the flip side, we're looking at context of a changing climate. So that's what this video is. We actually manually removed snow from a lake over 2 winters. So every time it snowed about half an inch or an inch, we went out there and manually removed it with a snowplow and a industrial snow blower, which is kind of insane. I got to do it one day and it took like 5 hours. It was pretty crazy. But what we were able to do is then change the ice formation of this lake. So in normal times, if it snows, you get this mix of what we call white and black ice. So the white ice matches more of what the water column looks like versus here black ice, which is clear ice. And that means we're able to get this like super cool photos of bubbles that come up through the lake ice. So this big bubble here is what would be methane, and these smaller bubbles are probably just oxygen. But I highly recommend everyone on this YouTube link to look up Lake Baikal, so B-A-I-K-A-L. It's a lake in Russia that has a lot of methane emissions that get stuck on the ice, and because it's such a clear lake, you're able to see these really, really cool methane formation bubbles. But anyway, so this was one winter when we didn't really remove snow correctly because of weather. And this is when we had a really good snow removal where we pretty much only had black ice. And that's what this plot is showing, is just between 2020 and 2021, we actually saw this decrease in methane because we had an increase in light, an increase in photosynthesis, that buzzword you all learned in middle school and high school, biology. So a lot of green chlorophyll that was there. And because of that, we had a lot of microbes that were able to consume methane and decrease in the water column. And so just to convince you all before my time is up, I thought I would include one last video because not only do we have fun out in the bogs, but we also like to do TikToks because that's how the kids get to become limnologists in the future. So to make you all jealous, this is my full-time job and I love it. And here we go.
Hey, I'm on vacation every single day because I love my occupation.
It's pretty awesome. I get to drive a amphibious ATV to get to my office. So anyways, any question?
Yay, give it up for Adrianna.
Great.
Very cool. So I'll ask a question and then anybody in the chat, cough, cough, dad, who I think interrupted earlier, feel free to ask or type in the chat. And same goes for everyone on the YouTube. So my question is, if we clear all of the snow off of all the lakes, can we stop global warming?
Sadly, that's not the case because a majority of lakes are actually getting an increase in nutrients because of humans and our development. So honestly, methane emissions and carbon dioxide are increasing because of the way that we change our landscape. So it's called eutrophication, but it's basically when you add a lot of nutrients to a lake and it increases the amount of methane emissions. So sadly, no.
Yeah. Somebody in the YouTube asked how thick is the ice on those lakes? I guess I'll add to that. Like, what are the safety precautions you take with the all these vehicles you're driving around?
I was taking that question a very different way, but it's real thick. The ice is pretty, so this is about, I think, 60 centimeters because we only use metric system in science. So I don't know what that would be in inches. But it is very thick. Actually, you can drive on you can, I think, get on a lake if it's like 4 inches thick or something. So yeah, not much to be safe, but we did have an issue where I questioned my safety and I decided I was not going to go on the lake. So
wow, good for you.
the good thing, oh geez, it's going to play the noise, but this thing here actually floats in water. So technically, if we were to break through the ice, it would float and we wouldn't die.
Oh, cool. Any other questions from people in the YouTube or in the Zoom?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
This is Nilou. So this is super dope. Is there like the implication that if there is less snowfall, there would be a reduction in methane production in inland lakes? Like, is that the implication here?
No, that's a good question. So this is just one study from one really tiny lake. So I don't think we can make that assumption for everything because it's very shallow. So the changes we see here are probably not the same for many different lakes. And in fact, like a similar study that did it in a very, like a lot shorter of a period of time, saw an increase in methane. So I don't think like one season can really tell you that. But in this case, we did see that just in the water. So
that's super interesting. I also have one more question. I got a little confused. You didn't drill an ice core, right? It was like you measured using the little floaty buoy, and you measured like the methane like coming off the lake like over a season. But like, could you do ice core stuff?
Yeah, honestly, like the research I did, so the plot from here is all from the dissolved concentrations of these gases in the water column, which does require an ice. So we drill a hole in the ice and then we're able to get the concentrations just within the water. So this was actually kind of a novel way of measuring it because we were able to like have this in the center of the lake and measure it. But yeah, in normal stances, most people just measure it through the water.
Yeah, super dope. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for asking a question.
Very cool.
Did you have a question? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, no, I'm just like curious because I was always told like, you know, cow farts were what's putting methane into the air. So we just need to like get rid of the cows. But now it's seeming like, is the answer to solving global warming like killing lakes somehow? Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, well, it's crazy. I mean, I could only do 3 slides, but in fact, lakes can also be net sinks of greenhouse gases. So especially carbon dioxide. If a certain lake has a certain parameter, that's what a lot of these things, so all these dots that are below this 0 are actually uptaking greenhouse gases. So it's kind of like this trade-off between a net source and net sink. So not all lakes, but actually like a majority of the lakes in here are really tiny lakes. So what you probably see on like your golf courses or I don't know, in your neighborhoods. So tiny lakes actually emit like a ton of greenhouse gases.
We should become lake sizes then, right? Only big lakes.
Massive lakes and massively clear lakes. I do really highly recommend you look up Lake Baikal. It's pretty awesome.
I hope you don't tell anybody about methane cloth rates. That'll freak everybody out if they think that cow farts are the biggest source of methane.
Abolish the lakes.
Wisconsin loves their cows, so I think I would be like excommunicated from the state if I like was anti-cow.
Jen Natty Zach, who of course is a fellow brother, and shout out to all the APO crew on the chat, asks, are there geoengineering solutions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from lakes?
I would counter that with, Jen, can you define geoengineering for me? I guess one thing is just to make sure lakes don't have like high amounts of nutrients in it. But you know what? That's going to be the research I start in what happens to be a PhD this summer. So we'll see how that goes. But I'll be looking more at urban ponds. So I'll get back to you, Jen. I think I have your number, so I'll hit you up.
Awesome. I just want to give my dad a chance to ask a question that he seems to be dying to ask. Stu,
Oh,
do you
really?
have anything?
I can talk now?
Yeah, you can talk now.
No, I was going to make a comment that when I saw that picture, I thought maybe they had lost one of their friends under the ice and they were going to use this emitted methane, lighting that to try to break them out. But that's just
Wow.
the way I think, I guess.
Are you proud of yourself? Are you glad that you asked?
Well, I think it's more appropriate back when it was happening, but anyway.
Okay.
I think that's important to address because it is like a very scary topic if you were to fall into the ice. I hope I would have a friend who could somehow generate methane to get me out. So I agree.
Well, I didn't know that the lakes were actually producing it, so maybe they just put the match out.
Yeah, that's wild. All right. Any final thoughts, Adrianna? Any words of wisdom?
No, I think all of us are now limnologists, so I'm glad we're all part of the same team. So this is
Awesome.
great. Thank you.
Love it. Yay. Thank you, Adrianna. All right. So we're going to move right along. Our next comedian has one of my favorite podcasts, the only podcast for which I subscribe to a Patreon. So I feel like that's it. A really high honor. And he's a New York comedian. Give it up for Tommy McNamara.
Hello. Thank you guys so much. This is so exciting. I'm learning a lot. I learned I can take my car on a lake anytime. I'm going to try it out soon. This is going to be great. I'm so happy to be here. I don't have any science jokes. I do have one science story that came to mind when we were talking about this. Is when we did my 7th grade science fair, one of the kids in my class, it was like something you're supposed to work on for months, and one of the kids just didn't do it. He like this whole project you're supposed to work on for like 3 months. He just didn't do it at all. So then the day we have to present, everyone has their poster boards that we've all worked so hard on, and this kid who's I won't give his name, but this kid goes up to the front of the class and just goes, "I did mine on invisibility. As you can see, it worked." And he just gestured to nothing. And he was like my hero, and he also failed the class. But that is my only science story that I have. I'm very excited to be here. I hope you guys like my virtual background. Just search dream apartment. That's what you search if you want this. Just search 30-year-old man who knows how to decorate. That's all you need. And has one weird mirror from a previous tenant. That's what you got to search, and you'll find it. I don't know how to decorate at all. I used to do Zooms from my bedroom, which everyone assumed was my childhood bedroom. And I had to be like, no, that's a 30-year-old man bedroom. So I had to move it. So this is somehow the best room to do it in to show my exquisite taste. But it's like, what am I going to put up? What am I going to put up? Modern art? I'm not skinny enough for that, you know? This is a theory I have. I think only skinny people like modern art. That's my theory. I don't know. But I guess if I wasn't eating, I'd just look at a wall, you know? I get it. I see what they're doing, you know? I'm happy to be here. It's good to do these shows. I miss like doing live shows, you know? I miss my social life a lot. I miss like the little things of a social life. Like I miss like being drunk in an Uber, you know? Like the passengers never noticed. And I'm kidding. I'm unemployed. Don't worry. So happy to be here. I have been drinking a little too much during the pandemic. I know that because recently I went to the gas station by my house and I bought ice cream, and the guy was like, no beer today. And I was like, oh no, this is not a good sign. Like, it's one thing to be a regular at a bar. You don't want to be like the Cheers of your BP, you know, you don't want that to be you. This is a tangent, but that gas station also, the whole pandemic, they have had signs up that say, you must maintain 4 feet of social distancing. And it's like, who gave you the extra 2? Like, did you talk to Fauci? Fauci went to my college, by the way. Not something to say during a comedy show, but not something interesting either. So I better say it. That's what I say. But very happy to be here. I had one friend on a Zoom who was like, oh yeah, my drinking's getting bad. I'm drinking like 3 nights a week. I was like, oh buddy, you haven't started drinking yet. Like every week in the pandemic has been a month. So I've been drinking 25 nights a week. That's been my thing. I've been good though. You know, I've been trying to be safe. Like whenever I go out, I wear a mask because I'm really self-conscious about my nose and mouth. So I've been doing that, and that's been good. I had to travel one time during the pandemic. I had to travel one time. I had to get in a flight, but don't worry, it was outdoor seating, so it was fine. It was good. I traveled with my girlfriend, and right when we got on the flight, she decided to Google Delta Airlines coronavirus, which just don't do that on the plane. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to be good. Like the article's not going to be like, oh, Delta cured it. They figured it out, so you're fine. You know, it's going to be a terrifying experience no matter what. But things are looking up. You know, I got 2 vaccines. I'm hoping to get the last 8 soon. I feel good. When I went to get my vaccine, they were like, do you have a pre-existing condition? I was like, yeah, just gestured down at my body. I was like, I got one of them. There has to be, you know, you can figure it out. I only have 1 more minute. I am unemployed. This is an uplifting note to end on, but it's good. It's the most honest paycheck I've ever had. That's what I think about the unemployment paycheck, you know, because I used to work office jobs and I'd get a paycheck that was like human resources assistant. And I was like, that's not who I am. That's not what I do. And now I get a check that just says unemployed. And I'm like, right on the money. That's me. I certainly am that, you know. Here's what I do to get myself through it. Whatever I do that day, I just pretend that New York State is paying me to do that. You know what I mean? Like if I like post on Twitter, I'm like, New York pays me to be an influencer. That's kind of my thing, you know. Or like if I play basketball, I'm like, yeah, I'm like a state-sponsored athlete. You know, if I do nothing, I'm like a New York politician. How you guys doing?
Hey.
Come on, I'm Tommy McNamara. Thank you guys so
much. Wow, yeah, this is the most political Zoom comedy you're ever gonna see. So soak it up, everybody. Tommy, how do you feel about I mean, you did kind of offhandedly mention that you went to college, which is huge for you.
That was big. I did not take a single science class in college, but no, I'm very bad at science to the point where in a high school chemistry class, a teacher who I was like very friendly with once showed my test to the whole class just to be like, can you believe Tommy got a 2 out of 10 on the quiz? And he thought we had that kind of rapport. And I was like, I don't know if we do, but no, I'm not good at science, but I'm going to try my best.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's take it away. Nilou, are you ready to share?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's do it, Tommy.
This is very exciting. Oh wait, we got to go back to the title. I'm not advanced enough to get past the title. No, all good. I'm hoping I can kind of parlay this into becoming a Walter White type figure. So hopefully that's going to happen in this. Okay, yeah, slipping into Snowball Earth. You know, that's the kind of thing we're doing, because what you have to do is, a lot of people, they don't use isotopes when they're trying to uncover Earth's chilly past, but I try to use them personally. So this is like perfect for me. And I know what an isotope is. Like I certainly don't just think of it as the baseball team in The Simpsons. I know exactly what it means. So this is easy for me to explain. And Earth has been chilly. I've seen the Ice Age movies. Next slide. Boom.
Boom.
Okay, now the good thing is everyone knows you got the organic carbon weathering flux, which is basically it's like a weathering flux that's made of organic carbon. A lot of people, they do kind of the junk food stuff, but I always go organic with my carbon weathering flux, and it's going to be about 4C, $22 an hour is what I hope to make someday. As you can see through that arrow, that's kind of my career path. But if you look down, as I gesture towards the screen with my fingers, like you can see that, showing my scientific mind, you got the HCO3, which is, of course, humor can overcome 3. And that is really important to me. So basically it's like a lake cycle, late Cretaceous, not lakes. Lakes was the last one. I'm on the money here, but the Cretaceous period, I do know, is Jurassic Park. So that is what that was. And we got the volcanoes over there right in the middle. I think it's a volcano and or Sideshow Bob. This is a Simpsons-based show, so I'm just going to keep with that theme. And you got the sun in the corner. He usually has sunglasses, but this time he's decided to kind of be more casual. So that's exciting. But basically, yeah, what it is you take the air, it goes, all the air that we breathe kind of goes up through a volcano, down underneath a hill or maybe some human buttocks in the bottom right, and then goes up towards the sun. And that's kind of how I breathe myself. And of course, this part to the right, this is so clearly a video. That's what it's okay. So wait. So this is. Oh yeah. They're doing plastics, like in The Graduate. They're doing plastics, and they're doing kind of. I think they're creating a test tube baby. That's what they're doing. And you got plastic and you got gloves, and those are my 2 favorite things. I think I've covered this pretty well. I'd say we're about ready for the next slide. I know everyone's got it going on. Okay, so here now we're kind of in my sweet spot here because the other stuff I didn't understand, but this is like easy for me. So you got clouds, you got rain, that's the kind of thing. And it's so weather is what the noun is, but weathering is kind of a different thing, so the weathering's at 0.7119, and that is blue, but if you go down and the weather's at 0.317, you're in the red. So you got to be really careful with that. And the carbonate burial, it's kind of like a Viking burial for the air. Is kind of what's going on there. And I do have to, this is sponsored by Morb, as you can see on the bottom right. The good folks at Morb just wanted me to let you know that they have to say their slogan, which is, what can you say? It's Morb. So I got to say that. And of course, you look at this slide and you go, that's Palmer and Edmund from 1989. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that. But basically, you got sky, water, desert, and that's life, that's the world. And that's kind of what's going on with the isotopes. I think if we want to learn more about the chilling world, we'll have to go to the next slide.
That's it.
Well, I think I summed it up pretty well, actually. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm so much smarter now.
Nilou, how did he do?
Yeah, he did great. I mean, for the money, I think you should come in and just finish up my dissertation for me. That would be great, actually.
It would be great if you could hire that out, right? Like,
yeah, for sure. Can you just write a bunch of stuff that I don't want to write at all, and just, nobody's gonna read it anyways. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also apologize. I should have put it into presentation mode. It was in presenter mode, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so should I go ahead, Alex?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so slipping into Snowball Earth, using isotopes to uncover Earth's chilly past. I'm Nilou. I'm a 4th-year PhD candidate in the Earth and Planetary Sciences Department at Northwestern University. And yeah, this is me. Oh, geez. Well, whatever. I was gonna change the format. Sorry, one second. Can you guys still see?
Uh-huh.
You
Okay.
definitely go to Northwestern.
So yeah, so my research hopes to better understand the carbon cycle changes right before a major glaciation event in the Neoproterozoic by investigating the strontium isotopes in carbonate rocks from that time, okay? And so first, let's back up. Why do we even care? Like, why do we study paleoclimate? Why do we care about a time period that happened so long ago? Well, studying Earth's most dramatic climates can help us figure out the carbon cycle's tipping points, which can help us better understand how future forcings can change climate. And to put it simply, understanding the past is the key to better anticipating the future and better understanding our present, which is like kind of what Adrianna does. And as for like dramatic carbon cycle dynamics, none is more dramatic than the snowball Earth events of the Neoproterozoic. Okay, like drama queen Af. The Neoproterozoic is a time period of Earth's history that occurred 1 billion to 542 million years ago. And for reference, the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. So I study like a really, really long time ago. And first and foremost, the Neoproterozoic is famous because it's believed that oxygen levels rose high enough for animal life to evolve at the end of this era. So before 542 million years ago, there were only microbes like living in the ocean. And then after 542 million years ago, there was like the evolution of animals and plants. So it's kind of a big deal. And so there were these weird global glaciations that also happened during this time. And so not only do we want to understand how the Earth like got so out of whack that it couldn't equilibrate to a normal temperature, and went all cold for a really long time. But we also want to understand how that may have related to the evolution of animal life. And so snowball Earths literally just means that there's ice, like glaciers that covered the entire planet from pole to pole. So including around the equator. So if you imagine what the equator is like now, real hot palm trees, laying on the beach, it was covered in ice. And so we don't know how the Earth got into such a frigid position, but a prevailing theory is that much of the landmass was centered around the equator, which allowed for a massive amount of silicate weathering to occur. Silicate weathering is a process in which rain hits rock to remove CO2 from the atmosphere, which is important for later. And this caused the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere to decrease drastically, and runaway albedo effect took care of the rest. But this is just a theory. So my research tries to better understand if this is true. And so this slide, so I thought Adrianna's talk was like actually a perfect prelude for what I was going to talk about today, because it gives a lot of context on how we can do science today versus how we can do science for times in the past. And so we can't go out and measure, with probes or with like a cool little robot. We can't do that because we don't live in that time anymore. And so, we have to get kind of creative in how we better understand Earth's past. Kind of like looking at bubbles in an ice core to better understand what the past atmospheric concentration looked like of CO2. We can look at the isotopes of carbonate rocks to better understand what was going on with the carbon cycle of the time in which they were precipitated. Then once you get like a series of values of rocks that were deposited at that same time, you can kind of look at how they change over time to try to understand what may have been going on in the world to create those kinds of values. And this like figure here kind of just illustrates, I loved the Sideshow Bob reference. You're talking to the right Simpsons fan here. Each of these like fluxes of CO2 each have like a distinct isotopic composition. And so if you measure carbonate rocks that were deposited during that time and they change, you can kind of like pull the levers and see, oh, maybe there was more of this or less of this or more of that. But therein lies a problem. There's multiple ways to get like a curve of isotopes, okay? You can adjust a bunch, there's too many levers to play with. And so that can lead to a lot of different explanations. So it's not super helpful. So luckily for us, carbonate rocks have trace amounts of strontium in them, which we can analyze for isotopes as well. So what I actually do for research is I take these rocks that were deposited like 500 million years ago, not an exaggeration, and I dissolve them in acid and then run them through columns. And this is a video of me, a time lapse of me doing columns. Columns take like 6 hours of me sitting in the lab. So kind of hard, kind of annoying. And then you separate out the strontium and then you run it on a mass spec. And that's how you get your values. And then to understand those values, there are a bunch of numbers here that I don't even really want to talk about. But what I wanted to show you guys is that this picture looks a lot like the last picture we were just talking about carbon isotopes, right? And so we can better understand carbon isotopes by looking at strontium isotopes. I'm not going to go into the details because honestly, I don't even care at this point. You know, I didn't like have enough space here to show you my results. But like kind of like as a hint, I get some really wild stable strontium values, which are the ones in red. These are two different kinds of strontium isotopes, whatever, nobody cares. My values are like really heavy, much heavier than modern day values, which could potentially indicate that there was a ton of carbonate burial, which would have removed a ton of CO2 from the atmosphere, cooling the planet. It's still like unclear as to what may have caused that cascading of events, but we're kind of like on our way of like peering back in time to better understand what happened during that time. Anyway, yeah, that's it.
Cool. Awesome. So I'm going to ask a question from the chat. Somebody asked, what is MORB with 4 question marks?
I knew somebody was going to ask that. It stands for Mid-Oceanic Ridge Basalt. Honestly, it's just something that they put in all the figures. So like, you know, you got to write it. But yeah, it's just supposed to represent like, you know, you can have volcanism from like magma coming out of a volcano, and you can also have magma that's like from the ocean because of like spreading centers or something. So this is just trying to represent that.
Cool. Somebody else asks, why do you think organic molecules eventually came together to form early life forms 3.5 billion years ago?
Oh, dang. I mean, I think you just like asked me like the meaning of life.
What is it?
Yeah, 42.
Yeah.
So that's a whole field unto itself. It's called astrobiology. And so there are lots of theories as to how things happened. I think the question asked why, and I don't know why. But yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We'll take it.
It's like a whole nother lecture.
Yeah, so the Gato Sarnoso can just cool their jets for a little bit, I guess. Carolyn asks, how many snowball Earths have there been?
Oh my God, Carolyn, great question. There have been at least 3, and they all occurred for millions of years at a time. And so that's kind of what's enigmatic about this time period. The climate was like normal, meaning not covered in ice, and then literally just crashed, like an abrupt decrease in temperature, and then it stayed there for a very long time. And I was hoping somebody would ask this, but I'll just tell you, you know, the question would be, well, how did we get out of the snowball Earths? And that's, you know, if the entire Earth is covered in ice, you no longer have that weathering that I was talking about earlier. So you no longer have a mechanism of removing CO2, but you still have volcanoes that are emitting CO2. And so it restabilizes the climate by pumping a bunch of CO2 while not removing any. And so you get like a slow and then rapid, once the ice starts melting fast, like return to normal. And so, yeah, we don't know what kept causing the crashing, and then what made it stop, you know? And so that's kind of what's interesting.
Anybody else in the Zoom have questions?
I don't have a question, but I do want to say that I should have done her talk.
I know.
Because I deal with strontium all the time, and that's not right. It's not right, okay? I use strontium-89 for bone met therapy.
Well,
I look like a freaking idiot right now.
I could have explained that. She just said I knew all of that. You seem very into your work, and that's pretty cool. You're so into it. I just think you're cool because of how interested you are in this subject that I don't think a lot of people are that interested in.
Yeah.
But I'm so like I like the fact that you are so into it. That's very cool, and I'm excited for your future.
Thanks, dude. I was gonna give you a shout out and then I forgot. But yeah, I was like my isotope queen.
Yeah. I know radiation. I use Tech and Molly and strontium. Those are all ones that I use.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah. I also like
science is everywhere.
Yeah, science. I like that you said that I'm really into it because I'm not feeling that right now, but I appreciate it.
Well, the way you just explained everything, you seem very interested, and I'm excited for your future. Mine's going downhill, so I have to be excited for someone's.
Thanks.
Yeah, that makes me wonder about an existential question for both you and Adrianna. Like, how do y'all study the climate and not get super depressed about climate change all the time?
A good question.
I mean, yeah, that's a oh geez. Sorry. I'm gonna stop sharing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All I can say is that I'm pretty depressed. I'm not gonna lie. But all jokes aside, like, yes, it is like kind of emotionally tumultuous at points. But I really like the people that I work with. I think that a lot of us really care, and that has been really fun. I was joking about me not caring about my research anymore because I find that I'm at a point personally where like I have done enough like science education on climate change, and now it's time for me to like go out and actually start working on fixing stuff and fixing like policy or like clean tech and stuff like that. And so I'm really passionate about doing something. Like I feel very frustrated and trapped, especially in the midst of this pandemic, like, but I think that like all the people that I work with make it so worth it. They care so much. We're also like very passionate about like intersectional like environmentalism, and that's really important to us. And everybody has like a really like dark sense of humor, and that makes it kind of like more bearable.
Yeah, that's awesome. Adrianna, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh man, I think you just have to be optimistic about the technologies that exist and human innovation that will help us find solutions to these issues. But yeah, it's tough when you're stuck in the weeds to get depressed about it. So I think I'm trying to stay optimistic.
Love that for you. All right, I have one more question, Nilou, about like, do you collect your own sample? Like, do you do field work at all, or are you getting samples and then just analyzing them? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and is actually a personal point of sadness for me, because I have not been able to do any field work. My samples, so the Neoproterozoic, like I mentioned, is like super old, and so the samples are they're really hard to find, really hard to get to. They're often in really remote, crazy, like Arctic Circle, like, bears and everything, like helicopter has to drop you off, like kind of field work. And a lot of people go out, get those samples, and then we kind of just like share them around. And so these samples were gathered in like 2003. And actually they come with like a crazy story. My advisor got into a helicopter crash, like, that he was fine and everybody was fine, but like that could have been so bad. And so I always joke that my samples have blood on them. But yeah, other than that, no, I have not done field work. I'm a lab girl.
After the pandemic, do you think you'll be able to?
It's unclear. No, probably not. I'm a fourth year now, so it's kind of too late. I was supposed to go to the Bahamas last May for carbonate research, but that got canceled because of the pandemic. And like, honestly, it's fine. I got to go to Barcelona for a conference, so like, I'm thankful,
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I mean, I guess grad students just exist on whatever they're given, right? Yeah, awesome. Well, do you have any final words for us?
If you feed cows seaweed, it makes their farts less methane-y.
Okay, I will do that for all my pet cows. All right, keep going for Nilou. Yay! All right, so we have one last little thing. It's a little bit of trivia. Just 5 questions. So I hate to say it, but people in Zoom are not allowed to play because we're lagging with the YouTube. So the YouTube people will play, but we can still have fun with it. We can still riff or whatever. But I'm gonna share my screen and I'll ask the question, and I will. Oh geez, where's my screen? Oh god. And then just type in the answer in the chat, and we will call, or whoever answers it first wins. And if you win, you get a free admission to our next show, which if it's online, it's going to be our last online one. So
How about a Cubs game instead?
What, Stuart?
How about a Cubs game instead? Tickets to a Cubs game.
Yeah, I guess if you want to fund it, that would be amazing. Oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I gotta open my Zoom preferences. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Hey Jake, can you put in your fingerprint for me, please?
No pressure. Everybody's just watching you right now. Nothing else going on.
Sorry, a little behind the scenes. My laptop was stolen, and so I'm using my boyfriend's, and I don't have his fingerprint. So.
You can try that. That's the part.
All right, here we go. I made a really nice cover slide. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. This is so embarrassing.
Are you guys even dating if you don't have his fingerprints like copied somewhere?
You have to request access? What is this?
Ah. Oh my god. Oh my god.
In the meantime, I have a question
Oh my god.
for the climate scientist, because I know nothing about climate science, obviously. Are we too late? Are we actually doomed? What can we do? I tried being a vegetarian for a little bit, and that's a no-go for me, but like, is there something feasible to do?
I think about this a lot. I think that one, it is kind of too late. 2, it could not be too late if we do like something crazy like carbon sequestration. Yes, I agree with Laura. We need to regulate corporations. There's a bunch of clean tech booming right now. My policy personally is that we'll see what happens in the next 10 years. I'm pretty interested. There's been a huge increase in clean tech and actually just people straight up caring. The difference from this year to last year is like intense for sure. And so, I'm slightly optimistic, but we'll see.
What is clean tech?
Clean tech is like literally anything related to like environmental. So like reducing pollution, reducing carbon emissions, like removing carbon from the atmosphere. That's all like under the umbrella of clean tech. And so there's like a bunch of companies that work on carbon sequestration or like creating apps to mitigate like carbon emissions from like big companies, or even like reframing the agricultural like reframing the agricultural like industry to like emit less. So just like there's just every sphere of society has like some sort of like thing that they can do to reduce emissions, and so there's going to be a company that pops up to try to help them.
Cool. All right, well, with that, let's do our dumb little trivia. Okay, here we go. First question, everybody get ready?
Come on, Liddy.
A study published this week in Science showed that this animal displays bilateral visual projection, a sign that this feature may have evolved earlier than previously thought. So we're looking for the animal. And Kenan, let me know once the replies start coming
Oh my
in.
gosh, I don't even have live feed on this. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. You got it. You got the right answer.
What?
I was just making that up. I don't know who you is.
We'll find it. We'll find it. We'll find it.
I have the Zoom link up, so I can keep an eye out.
Thanks, Adrianna. The YouTube link?
Yeah.
Kenan, let me know.
Everyone says elect people who actually want to enact the GND.
I don't even have live feed on this.
Okay, we got live feed. We have flatworm. Flatworm.
I had one job. You got it. You got the right answer. Gosh, is that my voice? Stop it. No. No, I don't know who you
Frog.
is.
Frog. Flatworm. Squid.
Not frog.
Squid.
Not squid. Not squid.
Flatworm. Zoom link up, so I can keep an eye out.
Thanks, Adrianna. The YouTube link?
Yeah.
Kenan,
Somebody's got the YouTube link up now.
Octopus.
It's happening.
We out of guesses? CL. Oh wait, no, I'm not allowed to guess.
You're muted, Alex.
Yeah, Alex, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was getting echoes. Nobody's gotten it right. It's a very simple animal. It's not a hamster. It's not a
A
squid.
mouse. You
It's
killed them
not
all.
a mouse. It starts with an F.
Can we
Parrot.
guess now that they've got to guess? Can we guess?
Yeah, you can guess.
Okay. It's not a frog. You said it starts with the F.
Yeah, fish. Okay, Renee Gorsky got it. Shout out to Adriana's mom. Yay.
No, but we can get other people in the Zoom chat, or not in the Zoom chat, like people in the YouTube link, see if they get it right. Oh, there we go. Wait, look, somebody else we know. Zoe Bear got it.
Oh, well, okay. Either way, it's nepotism. So let's go to the next one.
Oh no, the Guitar Sarnosa.
Okay. It is, yeah, the non-teleos bony fish. Okay, next question. Scientists recently discovered the autoron, a state of particle made up of what 3 particles? That's what it looks like.
Muons.
No.
Not more polite.
Just popped up on the YouTube. We got time.
The lag really makes this.
The lag is real for sure.
Can we Google it?
I mean, I guess if you're at home, you can Google
All right,
it.
I've got proton, neutron, electron, quark, gluon, and
Gluon.
gluon.
Yay.
Yay!
All right, Carolyn Ramirez.
Yay, Carolyn.
Yay, Carolyn.
Let's actually Google that.
I like Kirsten's answer though.
What was it?
Red, blue, and green.
I don't get it. All right, next question. A
Monkey
report
fish frog
published
is
this week
pretty
claims
good.
that the Jurassic monkey dactyl had the first of which human body part? So it's a body part that humans have. That wasn't clear.
Do all humans have this?
Yes.
All right, all right.
A methane exit?
The Jill's tail. Do we have
Thumb is our first guess.
Yeah.
Whoa, Zoe
Wow.
Bear.
Nice.
Oh my God, my sister is a genius. Okay.
Isn't it?
Okay, next question. The first baby born with 3 penises reported in a recent case study was born in which country?
I would. You know what? I bet you it's one with a lot of radiation.
What country would that be for you?
Oh no.
Wow, Poland.
Mm,
China is our first guess.
no.
Italy.
Honestly, that's a good guess. They have all the cool stuff there first.
Chernobyl.
Ireland?
No.
Why does that sound weird saying? Ireland. Here we go.
It does start with an I though, so I feel like that's a big hint.
Then it's not Japan.
Is it Iraq?
Yes, it's Iraq.
Sorry, should I not have
Oh.
spoken?
It's okay, Tommy. We gave
How
them.
dare you? We had the Ukraine and the US, so no eyes. Oh, India was the follow-up after that.
All right. A final question. A team of scientists created embryos made of cells from both monkeys and humans for the first time. What is the name of Brenda Song and Macaulay?
Tommy's on it.
That's not right because that's real. You should have said something funny like Wendy Wu.
Is the first one a clue, or is that just a non sequitur?
Oh my God.
Tommy already said it in the chat.
But that's
Tommy
fine,
already
right?
won.
But I didn't say it out loud this time.
Yeah, that's true. You didn't say it out loud, but if you're reading the chat, he said
That's fair. That's fair. Did
We've
you
got
knew it off the top
Dakota,
of your head?
Kolke,
Did not Kevin.
Dakota. We got a lot of Dakotas.
It's Dakota.
It is Dakota.
Shout out to everyone who reads the news.
No one
What
got my
passes
joke.
for news these days?
Whatever.
I'm mad that no one got my joke because I was just listing names of characters they both played and no one said a damn thing.
Okay, Victoria, let me give you a platform to say your joke right now.
Wendy, because remember when she was Wendy Wu? And then Kevin McAllister. And like, you guys, there's so many more I could list, but I'm mad now. London Tipton. They didn't name
London Tipton.
London.
All right, and that's our show. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. Thank you to our comedians and our scientists. Yeah, follow along for more. We'll probably do one more online and then we'll be in person in Chicago. So
Woo!
we'll keep you posted. Woo!
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love you all.
Happy Earth Month. Bye.
Oh my God.
Is it just the three of us left?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta turn off.
Three of us.